Today is Earth Day, an annual call to action to raise awareness on issues facing our environment.
Joining us now live to discuss where environmental and climate policy stands today is CBS News national environmental correspondent David Schechter. David, thank you so much for joining us on this Earth Day. Let's backtrack a little bit. What were some of the first executive actions the Trump administration took at the start of the year when it came to things like climate and environment?
Good to be with you. I think it's a great question, and really almost on day one, the Trump administration, he signed an executive order removing the United States from the Paris Climate Agreement, which is a place where the entire world gets together and talks about climate change and looks for solutions. So immediately withdrew the country from that world body, putting us in company with places like North Korea. Since then, there have been a lot of other executive actions. In March, on one day, there were 31 executive actions that took aim at environmental regulation, at the EPA, at enforcement actions, trying to block funding for grants that had been released to communities to deal with their environmental issues, attacking NOAA, this kind of premier science organization in the country that provides us with weather data and provides us with climate data. So it's been a 180 from the previous administration, which had a very robust policy on climate and environment, to one where President Trump has the country in much more of a pro-business state of mind than thinking about the environment, although he says he cares deeply about clean air and clean water.
David, we're seeing a lot of reductions in terms of the workforce, the federal workforce. Are we seeing reductions in some of those agencies that you had mentioned, like the EPA, which of course is supposed to exist to take care of the environment and protect it?
Yeah, I mean, we have seen, it's a little bit difficult to track all the actions, but cutting a lot of jobs at the EPA has happened. Cutting jobs at NOAA has happened. Cutting funding for critical programs that both of these organizations are active in. So a reduction in the size of the workforce. We spoke with a community group in Dallas that had previously worked with an EPA person whose job was to work on environmental justice issues in their community, help them with air monitoring and things like that. They had a grant to do that. The grant had been frozen by the Trump administration, and the personnel at their EPA office who previously had been helping them with this, they suddenly just kind of ghosted them, and they were no longer able to find them or talk to them. So those are the kinds of experiences that people are dealing with in communities.
David, you have traveled not just around the U.S., but around the world doing climate stories on things like waterways, air pollution, wildfires. What are you hearing from experts and environmentalists? What are their concerns right now in this day and age?
Yeah, I think that what you would hear from everybody is that we are in an extremely delicate moment when it comes to climate change in particular. The world every year releases more carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, and every year our average temperatures are now creeping up higher and higher. So we are on a trajectory there that we're seeing very little progress on, and so that's a big concern. And so you have now you have more policies that say let's not work on those issues, and I think that's bringing grave concern to people. I would just mention also the Pope's passing yesterday. He was kind of the last, or one of the few moral voices on climate change, not a politician, not a scientist, but reminded us that what we do to the earth, we also do to the least among us, to people who are poor and marginalized and are impacted by the actions of the wealthiest nations of the world, which create climate change and create pollution. And some of the poorest people in the world, including in our own communities, don't create these problems, but have to deal with them.
All right, CBS News, David Schechter, thank you for joining us here.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.